Alrighty. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Lesson Non-Classics. This is episode number 1953 and Doubleshot number 1847. Now we got two Batman trades here. First up is Batman Detective Comics by Marco Temikage, Volume 3, Arkham Rising. Now, this book collects issues 1044 to 1046 and the annual that came out that very year. And you're probably asking the question, Nick, how many annuals does one make for this one? Well, that's actually a really good question. Basically it's annual 19. Yeah, it's a 19th annual for the series. And here's a fun fact what comes to you about Detective Comics, where that this series has been producing annuals on a consistent basis, as of the most recent annual, which is annual 2021, which came out last year. For 11 straight years, they have been producing annuals on a consistent basis. Originally, they had stopped in the year 1997 after producing 10 straight annuals. And then they took a 12-year break to do, basically, they brought it back in 2009. They took 1 year off, and then basically been consistently doing it for 11 straight years, which is actually the most they've actually done. So yeah, A19. Now, the best way to describe these issues is that it's a prelude to the Arkham Tower story arc, which takes up 12 straight issues of these comics. And for the first and probably going to be the only time ever in the history of this very series, we actually have this series going weekly, starting with issue number 1047. Most of these issues, we have the construction of the Arkham Tower. Basically, we're planting the seeds for that particular story arc. That's mostly what this thing is. Yep, and in case you might be curious, though, now, the writing here, the main story is by Marco Temikage. The backup stuff writers are Matthew Rosberg and Steph Phillips. The artwork is done by David Lapham and Dan Moria. Dan Moria does this wonderful cover art here. Now, the main story is called Foundations. This is actually not done by Marco Temikage. This is done by Stephanie Phillips. Yes, Steph Phillips does this particular one. Why in the world does she does this particular one? If you're asking personally, I have no idea of why in the world she decided to do. I think it's like the main. Okay, so Foundations is actually the backup story. So these are the 3-part Foundation. It just basically are stuff related to Fear State, and then so basically it's kind of like the backup stories mostly, and also. We do see kind of debut in these issues of Dr. Chase Meridian, who is a character from Batman Forever. Yep. Though technically her first appearance was in Legends Dark Knight 100-page Super Spectacular before. That was technically her first appearance. But if you think about her actual first appearance was actually in Batman number... You could say it was Batman 108, possibly. Mm-hmm. And then she appeared in Fear State Omega. And then started with issue 1046. She was pretty much a recurring character in this book up until issue 1061. That was basically her most recent appearance state. So basically you could say these are kind of like the other stories, mind you. when it comes to the comics. But they threw in the anime here because why not? Yeah, that's the best way to describe why they threw the anime here. The anime was, simply put, basically the prologue to that particular storyline. And that's it. But it's good. Really good. If you're curious, how much does trade cost? $25 for a trade that collects 3 issues plus an annual. And it's not the whole entire story. Oh no. Foundations is the backup story from issue 1044. Yes. Yeah, they put this one first in here. And this, of course, deals with the aftermath of Fear State. That's the first 2 issues. They put the annual right between there, between issues 1045 and 1046 for some reason. Don't know why. And this basically feels like a trope prologue to that particular event, Arkham Tower. Which, if you're curious, though, in case you might be asking, do they show... By the way, we have an appearance here by Batwoman. Because, of course, because apparently we can't have her own book. So... Oh, by the way, let's have a reappearance by a Power Rangers Megazord right here in this page. Which one is it? I'm not really sure, actually. I mean, it could be a Dana one, possibly, but I'm not really sure based on the sword. Oh, by the way, we have Batman wearing his Batman Incorporated suit in the story arc for reasons. Out and Gone, basically. Now, in the case of the first 2 issues in here, it's most of the backup stories. But Out and Gone is the opening story from issue 1046. Basically, this trade is really short. And you're probably thinking, a trade this short and yet DC charges $25 for this thing. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I got this from Walmart. Because on Amazon, this was for $22 for this book. Walmart were selling this book for $18 and change. No joke. That's where I got this from Walmart. Well, I bought it in the Walmart app. But yeah, great book this is. I give this book roughly 9.5 out of 10. We also see, of course, appearance by Nightwing, the Saving on Batgirl. But just been a really good run. I've been loving this run so far. I've not had any bad issues so far. Well, time will tell when it comes to discussing the Arkham Tower stuff, now here's the thing with this next one. We have Future State Gotham, Volume 2, The Next Joker. Joshua Williamson has left the book for some reason. Yes, he's been replaced by Dennis Clover, who basically takes over as the writer of this book, with Guinness McGullis, Nicola Samazia, and Gaffio on the artwork. I can't really pronounce people's names. Unlike the first book, which contained the first 7 issues of this very series, plus the 2 Red Hood stories from Future State's Dark Detective, this book only contains issues 8 through 12. As the story goes, basically it's about the next Joker, which is this guy right here. Yeah, and of course, in case you're curious though, does the real Joker show up in this book? Yes, he does. He's like, well, here I am. I'm the real Joker. Yep. That's kind of basically what we got here. But, yeah. It's just basically it's basically Red Hood taking on a new Joker. That's the best way to describe basically what happens issues. But I've been enjoying Future State Gotham. The only problem I think someone might have with this book, the cover here is gorgeous. I love the cover. It's the interior artwork. It's basically in black and white for some reason. Yeah, that's one thing I thought was kind of weird about this book, is that all the issues have got no color in it. Nope. The covers are in color. Now, to date, this is currently only black and white comic book DC is published right now. The only one. My personal guess that would probably got the idea to do this was probably with Walking Dead. This probably Walking Dead ended about 3 years ago. Yep. And probably also the reason why they continue publishing this series in this continuity is probably because Future State did make money for some of the books. I think the Bat books made a lot of money, and this basically was a big focal point for Future State, so why not have a continuation of it? Just basically make an ongoing series. Instead of focusing on the next Batman for a second, because we already had stories about him, let's focus on Red Hood. Okay. It's pretty good stuff here. I get this book roughly a 9 out of 10. It's actually pretty good here. Okay, so that's that particular review. Next up is going to be Parallel Pharmacy. Okay, next video. Bye.